Hey guys, Josh from soccerreviewsforyou.com bringing you my review of the New Balance 890 version 4. Now as you can see, it comes in a pretty standard New Balance box, nothing too exciting there. The label is relatively small. You can see the code for the shoe itself. It is gray in color. That's obviously not the only color. The pair I have here is a size 10 US, and the retail price is not listed, but for this particular colorway, I believe the retail is $120, whereas the not limited edition colors, I believe, go for anywhere between $110 or $100. Anyways, though, if you are interested in getting a pair of these for yourself, I will leave a link down below in the description so where you can get a pair. Now, as far as the shoe I have right here, this is the NYC edition of the 890 version 4 by New Balance. NYC obviously standing for New York City. And again, I don't know too much about the overall theme here other than, of course, it's New York themed. I'm not sure if this is to go along with a marathon or some type of race that was happening in New York at the time. Again, I just don't know that information, but there are lots of different New York themes going throughout the shoe that I thought were particularly cool and worth the extra $10 for this particular colorway. Now, moving on to the colorway of the shoe itself, it features a predominantly dark gray upper with this kind of stitching that has a slight kind of silver sparkle to it. It's kind of unusual. It's not super noticeable unless you're in kind of a really well-lit environment, but for the most part it is kind of a nice little touch to have intertwined in the mesh itself. Of course, you have different colors all throughout. There's a little bit of purple here at the lace holes. You have yellow as a very popular color on the shoe, black, of course, a little bit of light gray, and then this kind of pink accent color. In certain light it looks pink, in certain light it looks a little bit more red, but in well-lit areas it definitely is more pink, I would say. But as far as the overall kind of concept behind the shoe, this is a performance intended shoe, and that's really how I intend on wearing these. I was a really big fan of the 890 version 2, which is a running shoe that I had a number of years ago, and I thought, oh, I really enjoyed that shoe, so I might as well go for the latest and greatest, which appears to have some pretty significant changes to it. I like the feel of the Revlite foam on this shoe. It's very, very light. It's supposed to be 30% lighter than any other foam out there, and it definitely does have that feel to it. I also really like how it's cushioned, but at the same time doesn't feel mushy, so it has that nice responsive feel and it doesn't feel like you're sinking in the shoe with every single stride, which is the case with a lot of more kind of well-cushioned runners. For those of you guys that are interested, it does have an 8mm heel drop, which means that your heel sits 8mm higher than it does in the forefoot. For those of you guys that are runners, you will know exactly what I'm talking about. For those of you that aren't, don't worry about it. Basically, it's a shoe that is designed for a variety of running types. If you run heel to toe, or if you run with more of a forefoot strike, or even a midfoot strike, this is going to do the job for most people anyways. And I, being more of a midfoot strike guy, kind of really like how this shoe feels. It's nice and supportive, yet still very, very lightweight. Now, as far as the colorway itself goes, let's get back on track to that. You're going to have this kind of cool graffiti-like pattern here in the Phantom Fit system, where basically the whole concept here is to not have any stitching on any of the parts that are going to be making contact with your foot. So you can see everything is kind of heat fused to the mesh upper. This Phantom Fit material is there just to provide some bit of lateral stability on the sides of the forefoot. While it's not designed for making hard cuts, it's still going to keep your foot securely in place inside the shoe and prevent it from moving around. You can see there's a fuse area going here around the toe with kind of a skyline look at New York City, which I thought was a very, very cool detail on the shoe. You have a matte finish on the main part of the fuse material, and then a shiny finish for the buildings themselves. Really nice little detail there. You have this kind of little band going through here in yellow that fades to gray, as you can see. Of course, your main New Balance logo. And then, of course, you have a little extra piece of fuse that has a bunch of little writing on there. It's very kind of difficult to actually read it. If you guys get as close as I can, and you can see that I think it's just different parts of New York that are listed there. Doesn't say a particular sentence or anything like that. I think it's the same theme that you'll see on the insole, which is a little bit easier to read. You can see this band going around the laces also features that same thing. I can see it says Bay Ridge, Greenwood. It must be just different areas and different towns and landmarks in New York City. Again, I'm not too familiar with what exactly it's supposed to signify, but it is there, and I thought it was a cool little detail. You can see it says New Balance right there on the tongue. And then, of course, you have more of a skyline. You can see that, I believe, is the Brooklyn Bridge right there. Run NYC. And you can see right on the back in this kind of graffiti pattern, it says I Run New York, which I thought, again, kind of a cool little detail. Nice to have that on a pair of running shoes. The heel liner, as you can see, is a lighter gray with a tongue that is backed in that same pink color. I'll quickly remove the insole so you guys can get a quick look at that. It's a really nice foam material, a decent thickness to it, and again, you have that pattern there. You can see again it says I run NY just like it does on the back of the heel. And again, you can more easily read or depict what all of these different landmarks are. And again, Sunset Park, Fort Greene, Bay Ridge, all kinds of Williamsburg, Sunset Park. So yeah, obviously it is landmarks and cities, which I think is kind of a cool little detail, and they've kind of put in a bunch of that into the insole, which again doesn't take away from the performance and just adds to the overall kind of appeal of this limited edition colorway. Now moving on to the outsole itself, it does have a fairly unique design in that it's not completely flat. You have these kind of lugs, if you will, kind of dividing up the midsole. It's a combination of this very bright yellow with more of kind of a cement pattern that is gray with these little black speckles on the back heel area of the midsole. I don't believe it's a different material, just a different color. And then of course you have your rubber outsole here. There are some cutouts there just to shave a little bit of weight. And there's also some kind of like a plate on the inside that, if you guys can hear that, has a little bit of firmness to it. I'm not sure what that's for. I believe it's some kind of probably pressure plate. If you do run on some kind of a trail or something like that, it's not going to push through, or it could just be the base of the shoe for the outsole itself. Again, I'm just not too familiar with the construction of most New Balance shoes. So if you do know that answer, be sure to leave a comment down below. But again, pretty straightforward rubber outsole, combination of black, yellow, and that same pink color. The same kind of reoccurring colors on the rest of the shoe, making for an overall very unique and very good looking shoe in my opinion. I like all the other details on here, and can definitely appreciate the overall design. But that's pretty much it as far as all the technical specifications. It's just a general close-up look on the new 890 version 4. And move on next to a quick on feet so you can get a better idea as to how these shoes look, and of course what the sizing is like. Alright, here's a look at the 890s on feet with a pair of shorts. And personally, I really like the overall look of this shoe. I think that even though this is the limited edition one that does have some extra details that you wouldn't normally get, I think that the overall design is pretty attractive. And for the most part, there's enough going on to the shoe to keep it interesting, but at the same time, it is simple enough with that very clean and New Balance logo in the middle. Now, as far as the overall fit and feel of these shoes, the first thing you're going to notice when you put these on is that they're very, very light, which I personally like the feel of, and just very comfortable for everyday use. In terms of the fit, I went with a size 10 US, which is about a half size bigger than I would normally go, just because these tend to run a little bit small, and because I am going to be doing some running in these. For the most part, it's better to have a little bit of extra space in the forefoot and toe box just to avoid any kind of blistering or issues with discomfort. So it's fairly normal to go half size up in this style of running shoe. But again, either way, whether you go true to size or half size up, you will get a fairly comfortable fit. But that's pretty much it as far as what these look like on feet with a pair of shorts. And move on next what they look like with a pair of pants. Alright, here's a look at the New Balance 890s on feet with a pair of pants. To me, this is something that you wear with a pair of jogging pants or sweatpants or something like that. But even if you wanted to wear them with a pair of jeans, I think that the design of the shoe is simple enough to where you definitely can get away with it. And they are available in, I believe, a few different colors. So you can always find one that you like the look of. So that's pretty much it as far as what these guys look like on feet. Move on next to my final thoughts. Alright guys, that's it for my review of the New Balance 890 version 4s. Really like all the details on this shoe. It's very, very light and just an extremely comfortable shoe on feet. Can't wait to test them out. I'm going to be doing a lot of running in these guys. It's kind of the main reason why I purchased them. And like I said, I'm just very excited to use them. But again, if you guys are interested in getting a pair of these for yourself, be sure to check out the review page on my website, linked down below in the description. On that review page, I will post links to all of the available colorways for this particular shoe. So if you are interested in getting a pair, I suggest going through that link down below in the description. If you have any questions regarding this particular shoe, feel free to leave a comment down below, and I definitely will get an answer out to you. And if you enjoyed today's video, be sure to support it with a like. Subscribe if you haven't already, of course. All of my social media information is also linked in the description for those of you that are interested. And other than that, guys, hope you enjoyed today's video, and as always, thanks for watching.